Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks 3 to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Good. No, oh, man. Listen, hope you guys had a great weekend. Man, I had a phenomenal birthday weekend. Let me finish sending. I got to send this out to guests. Hop on as soon as you can. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Crazy. Anyway, guys, I had a phenomenal weekend. Thank you for hopping on Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday. I'm fired up. You see, I got my House Music shirt on. I got a birthday gift here from my friend. I want to say thank you to Maricela. She's a lady I work out with at CrossFit, and she also sells merchandise. So when you go to Bears, anything at Soldier Field. Oh yeah, good thing of tea. So she works there, and she got me this hat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the birthday gift. I like it. It was funny because I didn't make it to CrossFit on Friday morning. I went Friday later. So she bought this hat for me on Friday, and she just left it in my little. We have cubicles there, and I have a little tray that I leave in there with like my platform shoes, my lifters, my jump rope, straps, all this stuff. I just leave it there. And she asked if she could, leave her shoes. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. No biggie. And so she left the hat in there. So when I first looked at the hat this morning, I get it, and you see it's a weathered look. It's like a vintage look. And I'm like, who the hell left their old Bears hat in here? What the hell's going on? And she was like, oh, I left a present for you. I was like, oh. I'm like, why should she leave me an old Bears hat? Like, that's silly. And I saw like, oh, it's vintage. It's a trucker hat. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's vintage. It's meant to look old and worn. Like, I got it. I was like, okay, I like it a lot now. I like it a lot. Oh, man. But anyway, listen, I had a great birthday weekend. Whew. We talked to you a little bit about it on Friday. Man, Thursday we went to steak dinner, me and Mark. Friday I couldn't go work out early. Had to go work out later. Saturday, then we went to I went to Carlos Santana up in Milwaukee. That was a great concert. I can't believe that it took me so long to go see him in concert. What the hell was wrong with me? I feel like an idiot. This guy is amazing. He's a living legend. His concert was awesome. Saturday I chilled, watched the fights. One of the guys, Curtis Blades, if you're a UFC guy, he's from Chicago, went to De La Salle High School. Man, he had one bad move, and it cost him. And then another guy from Chicago won the with the light heavyweight championship. Was it Bilal Muhammad? And that's the guy that one of my guys trains with him. And I was like, holy cow. So we're going to try and get him on the show soon when he gets back. We'll try and get him on the show. So looking forward to that. What else? Saturday, in addition to that, to the watching the fights, I went to the Fiesta del Sol. Had some quesadilla tacos, had some tacos de pastor, tacos de pollo. Oh, man, it was great. What else? And then yesterday, I just chilled. Long weekend. Glad to get back to work out this morning. And I'm glad to be back at Talking Sports with my peoples. Man, listen, so if you're watching us on Facebook Live, then I guess you found us on Facebook. If you're not following us on Facebook, make sure you go to Sports Zone Chicago. Click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. But wait, go to Shawn and Maya in the morning, like that page as well. So you'll not only will you be following Shawn and Maya in the morning, Sports Zone Chicago, you'll be following Shawn and Maya as well. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excelente. All right, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the little bell right next to it. That'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, if you're watching us on our mobile app, wait, please don't tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. Come on, man. You got to keep up with the Joneses and them. We got a mobile app, so listen, go to wherever you get your apps from. All right, whether it's iTunes or Google Play or Amazon or Walmart or Kmart or 7-Eleven or Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Venture, Woolworth, Weebles, Goldblatts. Doesn't matter. Go there, type in Sports Zone Chicago, download it, take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, and not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew. And I mean a slew of articles. Thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on a Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Sports Zone Chicago, we have our own Roku channel. So do me a favor, if you have a Roku television in the house, download Sports Zone Chicago's channel to your television. Put it there next to Netflix, Prime, Max, Hulu, Apple Plus, Disney Plus, Stars, Paramount Plus. Put it right there. Put it right there next to it on the big screen. Hell, watch Sports Zone Chicago on a big screen. And she run the big screen, right, Mickey? Ficky now. Yes, we are. Oh, man, we have an awesome show, but I need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or a mobile app, leave a question or comment on that platform. It'll come up in the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that, my peoples, is what makes this the best morning Chicago sports talk show around. And that's you, baby. So bring them all. Questions, comments, smart ass remarks, because ain't nobody scared over here. I like The Rock said, don't sing it, baby. Just bring it. Let us see who is in the chat this morning. Man, my man Armando Emeterio. Lara. Junior, my man Junior's in the house. Good morning. So Junior and I, in case you didn't know, just get the message, just got the memo now. Junior and I actually share the same birthday. He's 8 years older than me, so he's a pinche viejo. He's 4 years older than me, but we share the same birthday, July 25th. Thanks, Junior, checking in. Appreciate it. Yvette Lee's in the house. Good morning, Ma. Thank you for tuning in. Sean Wall is in the Mickey Ficky house. Happy House Music Monday, baby. Body jacking. Jack my body. Jack my body. Jack my body. Jack my body. Someone. Oh, Farley was. He was at Marquette Park yesterday. I want to say, yeah. Yeah, I think Farley was at a house festival at Marquette Park yesterday. I was too tired to do anything. I was so tired from the weekend. I started Thursday evening. Yeah, so I didn't go see him. But man, Levette, thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Levette. I appreciate it. Thank you. James Ford's in the house. Good morning. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you checking in. Jay Grizz is in the house. That's what's up. Bear down, baby. Jay Grizz in his mug. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see what else. Who else is coming in? Who else? Oh, man. King Book of World. What's up, Papa? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. That's what I'm talking about. Man, listen. Yep. Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. I do know this. More of the usual suspects will chime in as the show goes on. All right, J. Grizz, that's funny. Huddle up. Unity. You gotta sound the unity. That's how Junior sounds. Unity. My guy Ike, UNITY. Oh, that's awesome. But more of the usual suspects will chime in. Listen, we got a great show for you. Right around 9:50, 9:45, 9:50. Evan Altman's going to join us. We're going to from Real Cubs, from CubsInsider.com. He's going to join us to talk about the trade. All right, they sent a fan favorite down to Tampa. And how are you Cub fans feeling about this? All right, you two pitching prospects and a very popular young player were shipped out of town for an all-star third baseman. Yeah, I'm nasal. I'm a nasal. Yes, you are. So, Cub fans, how do you feel about it? Evan Altman's going to come on around 9:50 or so. All right, and talk with us about that trade. Then at 10:15, my man Lester Wiltfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron is going to join us. He's going to we're talking football, baby. It is back. You see, I got my new Bears hat. I'm all fired up. Again, I want to say a big thank you to Maricela, a lady that I go to CrossFit with. Gave this to me for my birthday, so I figured, rock it. Yeah, little Def Leppard. So I'm rocking this new Bears hat that I really, really like. I really, really like it. They do suck, Jay Grizz. They do suck. Not as bad as my Bears, as my White Sox, but they still suck. Plank is in the house. Good morning, Plank. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. I told you more of the usual suspects are going to be checking in. I told you, baby. I done did told y'all. I was wearing my Javi Baez. You were wearing your Javi Baez shirt yesterday in Queens, huh? What part of Queens? What part of Queens you in? Let me know. My roommate was from Kew Gardens. His paternal grandma. So his dad's mom lived in. She was from Hollis. She was from Hollis. And in case you're wondering, I didn't believe it, but his uncle Mike, used to hang out with Run DMC. He said he would remember as a kid, he's a little shorty, being over at grandma's house, and they'd be in the kitchen just writing and rapping and whatever. I just thought that was pretty wild. But anyway, what part of Queens you in? You at, Jay Grizz? Let me know. Oh, Richmond Hill. Sorry, you're in Richmond Hill. Okay, yeah. So he's born in Kew Gardens, but spent a lot of times in Hollis. Oh, Kew Gardens is exactly where I'm at with my Uncle Mike. Oh, Jay Grizz. And my roommate has an Uncle Mike as well, dude. That's crazy. Great. So we stayed when I first moved to New York. We stayed there about 2-3 weeks before we found an apartment. I mean, I had money from Italy, and then I got my first paycheck from Cantor Fitzgerald. So we moved out. But I was staying at his family's his apartment that he's an only child. So it was him, his mom, and his dad, and him were staying. So it was interesting. So I used to take the train from Queens into down to Wall Street. That was crazy. But that's small world, Jay Grizz. Small world. But that's the lineup, baby. About 9:50-ish or so. Maybe he can hop on a little sooner. Evan Altman's going to join us talking Cubs baseball. Evan Altman's from CubsInsider.com. Then about 10:15, Lester Wiltfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron. It's going to join us. We're going to talk Bears, all things camping. We're going camping. Yes. So I'm fired up. We have a lot to talk about. So real quick. Did you guys go see? Have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet? I saw it. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of Ryan Reynolds' style of humor. He's more of a smartass, and he's not a very funny smartass. It reminded me of a lot of kids that I taught throughout my years of teaching. Just wanted to say, say something witty, which really wasn't witty. And don't get me wrong, I was a very strict teacher. But if they were funny, I'm like, you know what? That was actually quite funny. I'm like, you still got 1,000 words. Sometimes I make them write 1,000 words. I would get all the stuff from Mr. Miziora, my high school sophomore high school history teacher, who got me into Andy Frayne. But anyway, anytime he got caught talking, he make you write 1,000 words. Like if you're talking about say you're talking about the weather, like, oh man, it's gonna be raining outside. But while he's talking, he'd be like, Mr. Sierra, 1,000 words on the weather today. And he would have guys after school, like who had long detentions, like 2-week detentions after school, and they would count the words. They would count the words. So you have 1,000. And, so he's like, who wants to ride the Grand Avenue bus today? And there's a street. If you're not from Chicago, if you're from Chicago, there's Grand Avenue. And if you're not, there's a street in Chicago. If you're not from Chicago, there's a street in Chicago called Grand Avenue that has a bus running up and down it. So who's going to be on the Grand Avenue bus today, gentlemen? So that's funny. That's funny. But, oh goodness. Today's workout was tough. Heard the news, the trade, and there's a lot going on in sports. I'm fired up to talk about it today. I really am. So listen, guys, you know how we do. Let's get right to it. Let's do it. Let's act like Bo Jackson, Nike, and just do it. Guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
I almost forgot. Yesterday we played softball. So I'm like, why was I tired yesterday? We had CrossFit Warehouse had their annual softball game at a little softball park over there, out in one of the burbs, close to us, not too far. So we had a game, and people didn't realize how much of an athlete I was. So what's really funny, just because you do CrossFit doesn't mean you're an athlete. I mean, okay, but it doesn't mean you're athletic. Like I played sports, like some of you guys. I played baseball, football, basketball, hockey. All right, growing up. So to watch some people swing the bat, they don't use their hips, they don't do anything. The way they throw, I'm like, you squat 400 pounds, you hang clean 300 pounds, and you can't swing a bat. I had 2 RBIs yesterday. It was great. But here we go. Enough said. Our first top of the morning topic. Which way do we go? How about this one? The White Sox. Lord have mercy. White Sox yesterday. White Sox lose to the Seattle Mariners. 6-3 for their to extend their losing streak to 14 games. This is their second 14-game losing streak of the season. This is a record, 14 games. They might extend it today. Garrett Crochet was on a bump. He got the loss. He's 6-8. He went 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 1 walk and 3 punch-outs. Paul DeJong is 1 for 4 with a homer, his 18th of the season. Driving in his 39th and 40th RBIs of the year. Tommy Pham, 1 for 4, and his 19th ribby of the season. Sticking with the White Sox. The White Sox welcome the Kansas City Royals to the South Side. So I wonder where they're staying, because the Royals are just playing the Cubs. Sorry. Probably just stayed at the same hotel, I would imagine. The White Sox welcome to the Royals to the South Side. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. tonight. You can catch that game on NBC Sports Chicago or listen to it on their flagship station, AM 1000. That's ESPN 1000. Alec Marsh is on the bump for KC. He's 7-7 with a 4.75 ERA. He's going up against Chris Flexen for the good guys, who's 2-10 with a 5.25 ERA. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Well, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, all right, we'll finish up with more top of the morning topics. You follow me? So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Move it! Yes, sir!
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
Third inning. On the ground, and there is Tommy Pham delivering. Corey Lee will come in, and the White Sox on the board here in this third inning.
19th driven in as Tommy Pham takes it through the right side.
The catch right in front of the wall. Going back at the wall, Benintendi, and it stays in the ballpark. It goes off the top of the wall. So Benintendi with a one-out double here in the seventh.
Haniger couldn't get back there in.
Young. This one, straightaway center, well hit at the wall. It is gone. Paul DeYoung, his 18th of the season, and we've got some fireworks here on the south side.
6-3 now with that.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. Those were the good guys with a not so good result yesterday, losing their 14th straight of this campaign, their second 14-game losing streak. They're going for a new record today. Not one to be proud of at all. However, the Cubs, baby. All right, you Cub fans, get all excited about the Cubs. Yesterday, down in Kansas City, beat the Kansas City Royals 7-3. Javier Assad, he got the win. He got the dub yesterday. He's 5-3 on the season. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, a base on balls, 1 walk, and 5 punch outs. Nico Horner was 1 for 5 with a double, his 21st of the season. Drive second and 33rd runs of the season. PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, was 3 for 4. He drove in an RBI, his 18th of the season. No rest for the weary. Okay. The Cubs, they travel to the Queen City, Cincinnati, to face the Reds today. First pitch is at 6 p.m. 10 Central. 6:10 p.m. Central. You can catch that game on the Marquee Network or catch it on their flagship station, 6:70 a.m. Jameson Tyone for the Northsiders. He's 7-5 with a 2.96 ERA going up against Carson Spires. Carson Spires. He's 3-2 with a 3.83 ERA. Cubs. Staying with the Cubs make a big trade. They trade Christopher Morel and pitching prospects Hunter Biggie and Ty Johnson to the Tampa Rays for all-star third baseman Isaac Paredes. Oh, awesome. Good. I was asking, we got a nice picture of Isaac Paredes on the back page of the Chicago Sun-Times. All right, all-star third baseman. Some people that follow the Cubs a lot more intently than I do said that this was a win for the Cubs. The Cubs won this trade. If you saw the article, the headline, it said the Cubs acquire all-star Paredes in deal for Morel as Quest continues to fill the hole left by Chris Bryant's exit in 2021. So, the problem with, unfortunately, Chris Morel was, first of all, he unbelievable. Youngster played with enthusiasm, enjoyed being in the big leagues, enjoyed playing for the Cubs. He just said, just put me anywhere, I'll play. Some positions he was better than others. And at third, he wasn't very good. He wasn't stellar. All right, so you needed to upgrade. And they got an upgrade. You go from a guy who's kind of feeling out the position to an all-star. Yeah, I think that's one heck of an upgrade. So my question is, are the Cubs contending now? Like, are they going to make that run like they did last year when they fell just a game short? But are they ready to make that run now? Paredes is signed until end of 25. Let me double check. But I'm almost positive it was the end of 25 that Paredes is signed through. So the Cubs have him for a minute. They got next year. I'm sorry. Paredes, he's 25, doesn't hit free agency until after the 2027 season. 2027 season. So the Cubs got him for a while. Wow. 24 season, 25, 26, 27. You got 3+ years of this guy. He's an all-star third baseman. Okay. So does that mean you're all in this year trying to make the playoffs, or are you building and setting the foundation for next year? What are the Cubs doing? Goodness. So I don't know. I'm trying. We're going to ask Evan Altman. Evan Altman's coming on at 9:45. We're going to talk to him about it because you get an all-star third. You're not getting a good third baseman. You're not getting a one with big promise. You're getting an all-star. It's a proven commodity. Okay? You're getting so now you've shored up that the hot corner. What about first? What about first? You know, hey, we'll see. But we're going to talk to Evan Altman in about 8 minutes. Bring him on. And, yeah. The next top of the morning topic. Yeah, baby, baby. A little more difficult than we thought. But the U.S. men's basketball team beat Serbia 110-84 on Sunday. Kevin Durant led the way, 23 points, 5 rebounds. He was unstoppable. He was a perfect 8 for 8 in the first half. Man, KD was on fire. LeBron James with 21.7 boards, 9 assists. Drew Holiday contributed 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. This game was a lot closer than it looked, even though it is still, 26-point victory. It was close. It was close. Just went ham. KD went ham in that first half. He kept Serbia at bay, and don't forget they're playing with Joker, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I know I screwed that one up. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that.
Serbian fans roaring early. It is a good split in the steal. There is Holiday with a quick hands. Lebron James, locomotive. It's an early James jam. So their big man right now, Anthony Davis playing the 5. They had to get it to him. Curry. Oh, that's ridiculous. First 3-ball in the Olympic career. Using the screen from Adebayo. Adebayo likes his matchup. Instead, Edwards, Cash.
Anthony Edwards likes his matchup as well.
Supposed to do, get it to the fourth quarter. Oh, what a feed. LeBron James.
Jordan photo that I have, my first one. Oh!
What a pass, what a finish. Dagger from LeBron.
You still got us put points on the board.
Curry, stop it.
Oh, no, look away. Don't you do that. Don't you do that
That was Chris courtesy of NBC. Don't you do that stuff. You know what? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. They were having fun. It's got to come a point in time where we just have to take control, you know, and say, look, we're better than everybody. Unfortunately, the gap has narrowed considerably since '92 when the Dream Team went over there. You know, you got the 2-time MVP, you know, Jokic on Serbia, all right, Bogdan Bogdanovic. You know, you had other players as well, and they were coached really well. But at some point, talent just takes over. All right, talent takes over, and it did. It did. But it was good. It was one hell of a game. One hell of a game. I recorded half of it because I had to run and do some stuff yesterday. Man. You know, there was one talking about the Olympics. You know, there's a lot of extreme opinions on Caitlin Clark. Dawn Staley was part of the committee that chose the U.S. national team. Hold on, what did she say? And remember what I told you. Why they didn't have her on. To me, it doesn't make sense. You know, me, it doesn't make sense. She was on, they interviewed her, and peep what she had to say.
There's so much conversation about women's basketball
the run you at South Carolina had to the national championship, a perfect season. Obviously, Caitlin Clark. And there was so much conversation on, should Caitlin be on the U.S. women's national team? You were part of the selection group. Give me your read on that now that we've got a little bit of time and we can get into some clear air to see what happened.
Right. When as a committee member, you're charged with putting together best team of players, the best talent. Caitlin is just a rookie in the WNBA. Wasn't playing bad, but wasn't playing like she's playing now. If we had to do it all over again, the way that she's playing, she would be in really high consideration of making the team because she is playing head and shoulders above a lot of people, shooting the ball extremely well. I mean, she is an elite passer. She's just got a great basketball IQ, and she's a little more seasoned in the pro game.
In a couple of months.
Yeah, in a couple of months than she was 2 months ago.
It's great perspective to add there.
Those clips courtesy of NBC. You saw Dawn Staley. Okay, a member of the committee. She's the two-time NCAA champion as a player, two-time NCAA champion as a coach. She's amazing. She's amazing. And she's part of the committee that selected the squad. And remember, I told you, I said, look, Caitlin Clark needs to be on this Olympic team. And people were vehement about her not being on it. And I was like, it's not, they're like, well, who's she better than? She's not better than anyone on the team. And I said, I can agree. These girls, they said, who are you going to take off? I said, it doesn't matter. When you're growing the game, the person that has grown the game the most in the last 2 years is Caitlin Clark. Women's basketball, period. Okay? So why she was not on the Olympic team is befuddling to me. All right? You have to understand there's politics involved. And the women haven't lost a game in 32 years. 32 years. That's older than some of you jokers watching this shit. They haven't lost in 32 years. So it wouldn't matter who you took off that U.S. women's national team and put Caitlin Clark on. Because here's what it does. It brings more eyes to the sport. They sold out her jersey at Iowa. The night of the draft, they sold out her jersey for the Indiana. So what's going to do for her U.S. jersey? And now you're going to see girls from across the world are going to see her. And she'll probably she's going to be coming off. She would have been coming off the bench. But man, she hits one long three. There it is. That's all. Now the highlights. Caitlin this, Caitlin that. Politics should have been involved and should have taken over when you're trying to grow that sport the way they are. The WNBA is doing a hell of a job. They're making a hell of a lot more money. They're moving games from normal arenas to huge or bigger arenas, maybe NBA arenas. We just talked about this morning or on Wednesday. The Sky are about to break ground in the fall. So in a couple of months on their new practice facility, so all teams are going to start to have their own practice facility like a few do now. They're starting to make more money. Why not have the girl who literally brought millions and millions of eyes to this game for the last 2 years? Why not have her not on the national stage like she has been? Why not on an international stage? It didn't, and to me, it didn't matter if she was cooking or not, if she was playing really well or not. Her name alone is dollars. Her name alone is dollars. It's eyes on the sport. It's dollars. It's merchandise. So now you can sell her Olympic jersey. You can sell Olympic T-shirts. You can sell Olympic bobbleheads. You can sell Olympic anything with Caitlin Clark's name on it. And guess what? It will sell out. Because you know what? Can you name the starting five of the U.S. women's national basketball team? Nope. I can't. But I'll tell you what. You sure as hell know who the hell Caitlin Clark is, don't you? And so do people around the country. And so do people around the world, and it would have expanded her brand, which would be adding to the WNBA's brand. But my first guest, I'm fired up to talk to him about this trade, man. It seems like a good trade on paper. Seems like a good trade on paper. He's a good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for years, and I love it. Too bad we couldn't get him on Wednesday for Wu-Tang Wednesday. But you know what? It's Wu-Tang Monday. That's all right. We'll make it Wu-Tang. No, because House Music Monday. It's not Wu-Tang. Stay on Wednesday. Sorry. Anyway, he's the head man in charge over there at CubsInsider.com. You can find him on Twitter at @EvanAltman. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, our guy, Evan Altman. Evan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. I'm doing real well. It's
good.
It's a little bit of a gray day outside, but you know what? Sometimes you need those to get a little rest and relaxation, and hey, sit and watch some Olympics, watch a little baseball. It'll be a good day.
You know what? The fact that you're on the wake up list makes it a great day. And that's
I dig it.
Man, I don't know if you know, like a cousin of mine, my cousin passed away 2 weeks ago, and 57, and his heart just gave out. It's like, damn, dude, it really, and I just turned 53, so it's like, damn, like I've been here longer than I'm going to be here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's every day I wake up, it's like, whew, all right, not on that list today. So yeah, it's all and take advantage of the days, and believe me, every day I wake up, I'm grateful. And cloudy or not, sunny or not, 100 degrees, 50 degrees, snowy, polar vortex, shit, I'll stay in the house, no biggie. I just happy to be walking the face of the earth. Talk to me, man. What's going on with this trade? Holy cow! Chris Morel gets sent along with 2 pitching prospects, and Chris Morel was I thought he was a stud, but he had no set position. They tried him at third. He's like, tried him at center. Like, oh, okay, but then we got Cody Bellinger, we got PCA. Where do we put him? His third base defense was again not great. Are you okay with this? Because I know a lot of people seem to be. So that's what I want to ask you. You go from a guy that you don't know where you can play every day to pitching prospects to an all-star third baseman.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because most of the reaction tended to fall along the lines of like either on one hand, man, this is a huge improvement. This is great. It's an awesome trade. To then on the other side, just people pissed about losing Chris Morel, who was, fantastic personality. And I think stood out even more because as a team, this Cubs roster kind of lacks personality. There's not a whole lot there that you're drawn to, right? They're not super fun to watch most of the time. There's not a lot of those guys. And Morel, from the moment he came up, was this big personality, a guy that everybody wanted to hug. You know what I mean? And he just radiated this energy. And so for that alone, and I get it, I fall more in the middle where, and a lot of people this is why you should never put your opinions out on social media, right? Because then everybody wants to apply their own, like, oh, let me climb inside your head and tell you why what you thought is wrong. And it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like it was a modest upgrade to me. And I'm a big Hunter Biggie fan. He's one of the guys that got sent out there. And I feel like anytime you deal with the Rays and they pick up a pitcher from you, that pitcher's automatically going to get better.
Because they have good pitching prospect or pitching talent on that squad.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. That's a huge part of their success, right? But when you look at it, like on paper, and this will be the thing, it's like a lot of people will share back and be like, here's their respective stat lines. Look at how they're better. Paredes was an all-star. Like, yeah, he was their lone all-star selection, largely because of the way the AL's roster broke down. And that's not a slight to him. I mean, it's an incredible honor to be named an all-star. But when you dig into those numbers a little bit more, and, hey, he's hit some home runs, but he is a very, very pull-heavy hitter who benefits from being at Tropicana Park and some of the other places there, maybe in the AL East, largely where they're playing a lot of games. He has very, very low batted ball metrics in terms of hard hit, in terms of exit velocity. And so a lot of those home runs are going to turn, maybe some of them will turn into doubles, right? But some of them might also turn into outs. We're going to see that drop a little bit. So where I look at that is I don't know how sustainable his power numbers are.
Okay.
Now, excellent plate approach, walks a ton, although Morel walked a lot as well. Paredes strikes out a lot less, a lot better contact hitter. And the defense is much better than Morel. So the ceiling, I think, maybe got a little bit lower because when you look at just how insanely talented Morel is and how much raw power and bat speed and everything he had. So effectively, the Cubs traded potential for, just kind of a known commodity that even if the power doesn't get there, they've improved their contact rate, they've improved their defense at third base, and they've got a guy who's controllable for pretty much the same amount of time, right? They're about the same age, 4 months different. And he's controllable through the next 3 seasons. Yeah. So, they bought certainty in exchange for potential. And I think it could work out pretty well, even in the worst case scenario. If Paredes does drop off, again, like I said, he's a known commodity. The floor got higher, even if the ceiling got lower.
Okay. I can definitely buy that. So what do you think the reason for that was? Are they trying to make a run this year, or are they planting the seeds or building the foundation for next year? Maybe get another guy this year, or in the off season. What do you think they're doing? Because now you solidified, an all-star, quote unquote, you had to be, but nonetheless, he's an all-star. All right. He hadn't really filled that spot since Chris Bryant left. So what your thoughts on what route, what path they're going this year? They focusing this year, or is it 20?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely not this year. I don't think that, you don't get enough of an upgrade from this to turn things around and to climb all the way back into the race with as many teams as they have to pass, even in the wild card, right? And they've said that, but I think what you do on a couple different levels, I mentioned buying the certainty. You also had the issue where, and we've seen it, we saw Morel more and more, and this was the case in yesterday's game when he was actually in the lineup to start the game as a DH, right? And he was being used in that DH spot more and more frequently. However, we've also seen that Seiya Suzuki is having all kinds of problems with his routes, with just catching routine fly balls, and making plays out in right field. And so he's been used in the DH spot a few times, and it never really works out well when you've got two guys who are both under control, who you've got to kind of shift more frequently out of their position, right? And Morel was even more so. So now that does free up a little bit of space. I do think, we may see another shoe drop here, whether it's by Tuesday or whether it's in the offseason, because two of the Cubs' top prospects, Matt Shaw and James Triantos, both moving pretty quickly through the system, both showing the capacity to hit at a very high level as they continue to go up. But they're also both, do they play second base? Do they play third base? Well, now you've got your third baseman locked down for the next few years. So
shortstop in Dansby. So now,
yeah. So does that mean, do they move from Nico Horner? Do they package Shaw and Triantos either or in a deal? There was talk about Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Do they go after a move like that? Do they go try to find a controllable stud pitcher? So there's some things, because you can't have, right, there's only so much room. And you've also got Owen Casey coming up as an outfielder and Kevin Alcantara as an outfielder. So there's only so many spots. And you can't just stick a guy down in AAA and leave him there forever. Like, you either have to use him on your roster, or you've got to trade him for somebody who you need on your roster. So I think that is, to me, and that's why I've said this a couple times too, the Paredes trade in and of itself is one thing, and we could grade that as it is, which again, we'll have to see how he continues to play. But the flip side of that is we also need to see what other moves the Cubs make as a part of this, because he fills that spot. Now you've got a little more certainty there. Where do you go? Because it narrows down what you can do elsewhere, and may make that. So this is this is a domino kind of a thing. And I think we won't know for sure how we can really grade this or look at this roster until probably, the start of next season, assuming they've made some moves either at this deadline or, like I said, during the winter.
Okay, guys, we're joined by Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com, talking Cubs baseball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. So you talked about his on the road, his power numbers, and all that stuff kind of dipped. If he gets comfortable here, do you expect him to be able to maintain those numbers? Because as well as anyone, you get a nice little breeze at Wrigley, you're parking it. A routine fly ball is middle of the bleachers. And do you think they took that into account as well, dealing when considering his power numbers, because they can go out on any given day a lot easier than many places at Wrigley?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think there's some of that. Like I said, the troublesome part is just his batted ball numbers are really, really low. If you look out there, if you go to Baseball Savant, look it up, and the StatCast will show kind of where they fall in the percentile rankings. And I mean, he's like single digit percentile when we're talking about exit velocity and bat speed and things like that. And I know, a lot of guys can outperform that. Generally, when you see it, though, it's with someone like Luis Ariz, right? Who's a slap hitter. He's a singles guy. He's not a power hitter. And so it's a little bit easier to do that, prior to everybody figuring him out and realizing there was no power and you just play him real short in the infield. Nick Madrigal was a guy who was supposed to outperform that kind of data, right? Paredes is an interesting study because he's a power hitter who's outperforming these things. And so you kind of wonder, like a dead pull hitter. If you look at his spray chart, I think he's got maybe like 1 or 2 home runs to left center, pretty much all of them to dead pull left. And that becomes a little bit troublesome because if you do have any breeze coming in at Wrigley, where it does blow in more often than it blows out, that becomes troublesome. But if he can maintain a little bit of that gap power, that's fine because they turn into doubles. I think, for Cubs fans who are maybe looking at it, there's a couple of things. I know some people have comped him to Cody Bellinger, who also has pretty low numbers in terms of his batted ball stuff, but really good contact stuff, really good 2-strike approach, so that kind of helps make up for some of the lack of power. Not so much this year, but I would look at this almost as, so when the Cubs traded for Nick Castellanos a few years back, it was the opposite. He played in Detroit, huge park, deep alleys, and you look at his spray chart and go, man, this guy's got a ton of doubles. They're going to turn into homers in the gaps at Wrigley and in some of the other places, Cincinnati, some other places in the NL Central. The problem with Paredes is you look at him and you go, if you look across the league and you look at the stats, the way they figure this out with expected home runs, playing in the NL Central is the lowest number when you aggregate them across the 5 ballparks, the lowest number of expected home runs out of any division in baseball for Isaac Paredes. So he's a guy who's probably going to go. So Castellanos went doubles to homers at Wrigley in the NL Central. Paredes figures to go maybe homers to doubles or singles. So I do think he's going to lose some of that power. Again, it remains to be seen whether those turn in. And I haven't really dug into it enough, because if we're talking about higher fly balls and, a high launch angle, then you start worrying about, man, those are going to turn into pop flies. But if he keeps it on the line enough, right? Enough line drives, those things are going to fall for hits. So I think it's just, he'll have a different profile. And I assume they see some things with him that they figure are going to be sustainable enough that he'll be a solid third baseman for him moving forward.
Is it going to be a big issue if he goes from homers to doubles or even singles? So he may not get one, he'll get 1 RBI less. I mean, if there's ducks on the pond, and really all you need is a single to bring him in. Double definitely brings him in if you're on the pond, if you're on second or third. But is it going to make that much of a difference, or are we just focusing on, we want to see that big home run number, a bigger number at home runs, or should we really be worried about RBIs with this guy? Because again, you get the job done if it's a single, a double, and there's a guy in scoring position, as opposed to a homer. I mean, you add 1 more RBI, of course, but it's what should we be focusing on then, or Cub fans, I should say, his homers or his RBIs?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different thoughts to that, right? One of which is that for a team that lacks power, excuse me, and has for a while, that needs more power to have ostensibly, and you could look at it, and again, and here's the thing, people look at it and say, he hit 31 last year, and he's got whatever it is, 16 this year, on pace to do about the same. Well, that's true, yes, but Chris Morel has a lot more raw power than Paredes does, just flat out. But on the other side, when you look at, okay, if he sacrifices some of that power, you gain in terms of the contact. So, the whiff rate, the strikeout rate get a lot better. So, yeah. So now we've got, batting average is higher. So fewer homers, more hits, The defense is better. So again, now you're saving some more outs defensively. And so the trade-off.
He might not need to hit a homer because he's saving. So we're okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's how they're seeing it. Although there's a fine line there too, right? I mean, you all these things, like, it's not quite robbing Peter to pay Paul, but it's in that same, like, this is, and I also look at this and say, when you look at some of the numbers, like Chris Morel was vastly underperforming what the data said he should be doing, and Isaac Paredes is vastly overperforming what the data says he should do. So now that becomes, can he continue to outperform the numbers by enough to make any little bit of a drop off, not that big of a deal. And that's where I look at it. Again, you're trading potential for something that you think is known, but you could drop there. So he does need those. If it's not a homer anymore, it has to be a double. It has to be a single. You can't go and turn. Let's say he loses. Let's say it's only 5, right? But if you lose those 5 homers, they can't all just turn into pop flies. Like, those need to then be productive hits, right? In some form or fashion. So we'll see. And that's, and who knows, right? It could be that, like, this is all, he's just a total freak who's completely just going to continue with this and maybe even get better. Maybe some of those numbers improve, or he just continues to make me look silly by trying to look at these advanced metrics and poke holes in his stats, and he'll just keep raking, and the Cubs are going to look at a huge upgrade, right? That could happen.
This pitching staff, I'm liking. Talk to me about how you feel about it. I'm liking it. They got a lot of some quality guys. I mean, Justin Steele obviously is in there. Tyon's in there. What are they missing? I mean, they seem to have talent. They seem to have good pitching. Is it literally just the bullpen that's screwing them up, or is there anything else that they're missing? Because you look at on paper and you see some names, you're like, okay, you got Dansby Swanson, you got Cody Bellinger. I know he's hurt now; he's out for a minute. But you had Ian Happ. I mean, what's the situation? Why are they bottom feeders in the NL Central?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, the bullpen was a problem for a while, but then that's actually kind of come around and seems to have solidified. Hector Neris isn't giving up home runs every time he throws a pitch, and he's been able to kind of lock that down a little bit. They do seem to have found some better continuity there. So the pitching staff's fine. It's just when you look at their inability to score runs, at least on a consistent basis. Like, they went the first 7 games out of the break, they scored 9 runs. And then on Saturday against the Royals, they scored 9 runs in one game. So it's like you can't. They got shut out 3 times in those 7 games too. Like, that just can't happen. It doesn't matter how good. You could have the best pitching staff in the world, but guess what? When you score 0 runs for them, it doesn't matter. They'll lose 1-0.
Yeah,
right? James Lyon can go out there and be great.
Who was it the other day? He had 7. It was a 7 1/3. He gave up 2 runs, and he lost.
Yeah, I mean, they're just not getting them. They're just not getting enough runs consistently, right? And that's what'll happen. It's like, great, you scored 9, and they win a couple games, and like they looked really good going into Baltimore and sweeping the Orioles and scoring all kinds of runs there. And then all of a sudden it kind of goes away, and so it's just, but like you said, I mean, Bellinger, even when he was in there, they weren't seeing nearly the kind of production that they got from him last year. Ian Happ's been streaky. He's always been streaky. He was riding a really hot streak. Michael Busch has been really, really good. He's been their best offensive player top to bottom, but there's nothing about his game that you look at and go, man, outside of when he hit home runs in 5 consecutive games, right? There's just, he's a solid player, but it's a lineup full of solid players, right? The solid to good, good to very good, no great. There's nobody great. And that's what, any team, you look at a team like the Diamondbacks making their little run, and a huge part of that is you get a guy like Corbin Carroll, like a legit superstar type of player who makes other guys around him better. You look at what the Orioles have done with bringing some of these guys up. You look at what the Phillies have done, and you've got a Bryce Harper, among others, right? Some highly paid dudes. But it takes, look at what the Rangers did, right? They went out and spent, and you have superstar players who, even if they don't, like what I've equated this to, that guy is your oak tree. right? So even if on a day when he is not maybe doing anything, he's not having his best game, he's still providing all this shade so that other players can play in that shade without that bright sun shining down on them, without the lights and the microphones and all that. That this one dude, whether he's doing everything or struggling, is going to be willing to kind of take the brunt of the force from the media or the fans or any of that, good, bad, or indifferent. And it allows other people, because at the end of the day, you know, again, you look down at Bryce Harper and he's going to go ahead and continue to put up 6-7 WAR, whatever it is, you know, hit 30 home runs. He's going to be Bryce Harper. You know what you're getting there. And so it allows those other guys to kind of step up. When your best player, and Michael Busch has been great, but when Michael Busch is your best offensive player, and, you know, he's going to maybe get 20 home runs and he'll drive in a few, he'll be fine. But he's got to be like your third best hitter. And the Cubs just don't have that guy who you're like, that is the dude. That's the guy we're putting out there up front. That's the face of the franchise. They you know, like I said earlier, they're just kind of a blah team. They're fine, but like, again, when Michael Busch could probably go into the Starbucks next to Wrigley Field and order his coffee and nobody would hassle him because they don't even know who he is if he's out of uniform. Yeah. Good for him. Like, that's easier to live your life. But, you know, I don't know. There's something about that to me that I think you need to have that guy who is recognizable on and off the field as the one who's going to carry the team.
Isn't that Bellinger's job? Or him or Swanson? I mean, you got, like I said, you got talent.
Should be.
You know, you got center field, Ian Happ, PCA, even just go with Ian Happ, him, Bellinger, Swanson. I mean, before yesterday, Morel. I mean, you had big boppers, and their inability to score runs. Like, if Ian Happ plays his baseball card numbers, if Cody Bellinger played just his averages, this team is so much better, and they're in the playoff hunt. But is it the hitting coach and the approach? Is it the new manager? Why? Because there's too much talent on this team for them to be in last place. And that's the thing that bogs my mind. Believe me, I know about a whole lot of talent in last place teams, my White Sox, all right? But I didn't think you guys would be like this. Like, you have all these guys and you allegedly upgraded a manager and you're still on the bottom.
I mean, it just, you know, I think there's a lot of that. And I don't want to say, you know, I'm not going to say Bellinger was like he was playing for a contract and then got it, and that's what it was, because that's not the case, right? He didn't get nearly the contract that he thought he was going to. But I think, as I saw, like, I had a lot of concern about how he outperformed his data last year and what that would mean as he's coming into it. You know, Swanson is a guy who has never been a big offensive producer. I mean, he's been fine. He's been really good, but he's got to be able to play that goal. He's not even the best athlete in his own home, right? So let's talk about that. First of all, I mean, Mal Swanson's out here just lighting up the Olympics, and Dansby we're just hoping can like square up a ball for a line drive. Although he does seem to be coming around a little bit, but you know, I mentioned Bryce Harper. Dansby Swanson, over the next 5 years, the final 5 years of his contract, the Cubs will pay him more in each of those years than what the Phillies will pay Bryce Harper, right? And so if you're paying someone at that kind of a level, you're paying someone $25 million a year, they need to be putting up big numbers. And he's not. And I get it, right? I get that he was a better value technically than the other shortstops who signed in that class. But when you look at a guy like Trey Turner, you know, which one of those would you rather have, right? Because of some of the skill set that he brings. And I think Swanson is, you know, the power's not really been there this year. The defense has been a little spotty. His health hasn't been great. Same thing with Bellinger, right? And so I think he's also a dude who's been trying to play through some little nicks here and there that are maybe kind of, I guess, I don't know if they're lingering or what, but have probably weighed on him maybe a little bit more than what he's letting on, right? Because he's a dude who takes pride in being out there every day. And as much as I respect that, there's a point at which you've got to be like, hey, bro, you're not 23 anymore. You know what I mean? Like, Shawn, you know this. I know it really well. Like, you know, back in the day when you'd like pull a hamstring and then, you know, just put some icy hot on it and you're fine the next day. And now it's like, man, if I pop a hammy, it's like 6 weeks before I can even bend down and tie my shoes again. Right. So like Swanson's not a young man. Like those little bruises that you could play through when you were 22, 23, you're in your 30s, dude. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So like discretion is the better part of valor. So like I'd rather see a guy at as close. Nobody's ever at 100%, right? Professional athletes never at 100% after opening day. But I'd rather have you at as close to 90 or 95 as you can be, rather than being like 80 for 3 weeks. Like take that IL stint, get healthy, get the treatment. But I think that's a big part of it. It's just not, again, it's just not constructed to the point. None of those guys should be. Bellinger was the closest they got, but he should not be. He's not a superstar. He's not a Juan Soto. He's not a Shohei Ohtani. He's great, but he should be maybe your second best player. But they've put themselves in a spot where they've got a bunch of dudes who should be the team's second or third or fourth best hitter. And instead they're all kind of vying for being the best hitter. And that just doesn't put you in a good spot.
Guys, again, we're joined by Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com, talking Cubs baseball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. So this team constructed, like I said, if they play well, even outperform their numbers a little, this is a completely different team. So we're talking in 2025, they could be atop the division because Bellinger is playing the back his baseball card, Swanson, Ian Happ, all these guys, Paredes, all these guys, nothing crazy, no special season, just average. And all of a sudden this team can be at the top of the NFC Central, NFC, NL Central.
Hey, as long as they beat the Packers. No, that's yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like that, and that's kind of the thing with this.
Though,
it is
a GM and a
fan,
but as well.
But I think that was the deal going in when you kind of base it on, and the Cubs have spent a lot of money, right? But again, it's like, and the analogy I made before was like, okay, you see a car commercial, right? If you see it, look out there for a really nice, whether it be a Mercedes or BMW, whatever we want to say, right? And you see the commercial and they're showing this thing and they're showing how cool it's got this big giant touch screen on there and all the, heated seats and cooled seats and all this cool stuff. And then it's like, the model as shown is like $100,000. You're like, oh, that looks cool, but I can't afford $100,000, but I still want a Mercedes. Let me go buy one off the used car lot from 5 years ago that still has the badge on the front, but it's got crank windows, and man, I got that Pioneer CD player in there with the removable face and all that. It's like, this was cool at one point, but I can't afford this one. But hey, still a Mercedes. You know what? I could buy 3 of those because they're still so cheap. And it's like, that's kind of what the Cubs have done, right? Instead of going out there and splurging on one car that's going to last them, you're going to keep for 10 years. Yeah, they went and got 3 of them that'll maybe be good for 3 years apiece.
Vehicles.
They spent the same amount of money. They're a top 10 payroll, but they don't have any, like, what'd you get for that? And I think that's part of it, is like, if I go buy that new car, right, that thing, I know what this is going to do, and this is going to take me everywhere. This is my daily driver. It's going to be awesome. And it's brand new. It smells great. It's got that new Bryce Harper smell. But as it is, they got like gum stuck in the back seat on the upholstery and some stuff like that it's like, all right, if everything works out right, like you said, if they all play up, but there's enough flaws in most of these guys to where the chances of them playing at even the 90th percentile of their overall potential is not as good. And that's what we've seen, is that a lot of them are falling below that. And as a result, they don't have enough to make up for it. And so, yeah, that's the frustrating part, because you could see this, you could see it coming, right? You could say, man, if they all do this, they'll be really good. But it's a very big possibility that enough of them won't do what they need to do that we're seeing. And this is like the worst possible. Like, being in last place was never supposed to have happened, obviously, but not for that money, right? But it's, you watch it and it's, dude, it's been happening. I mean, here we are in late July. We're way too far past to be like, oh, this is a fluke. Like, this is who they are.
Evan, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah. So real Cubs Insider on X, or at D Evan Altman there as well. You can just go check out CubsInsider.com. You can find us on Facebook as well. Just put in Cubs Insider. You should be able to see us and find all our work.
Dude, great stuff, man. I know I got a lot of Cub fan friends, and they're pissed. They're like, thank God training camp started. I got a Bears guy coming up, and they're like, whew, I don't want to talk Cubs. I want to talk because I didn't want to talk White Sox. The White Sox had so many great promotions this year. Like, I'll just go get them off of eBay.
Yep.
I don't even go to the game.
Save yourself the pain, you know. I pay more for the bobblehead after the fact. Like, going to the game is too costly for your mental well-being, you know.
For my sanity, you're damn right. I used to go get it on a third-party app and pay $7 and go in and get it and come right out. And I'm like, I'm not even doing that. I'll just pay the $25 for the cut-off hooded sweatshirt, the Mexican jerseys, those White Sox. I'll just pay for that. That's cool. I'm not going to that ballpark and giving them my money.
That's the way to do it.
Hey, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, take it easy.
Hey, are you still doing any Bear stuff?
We still got Bears Insider going on. I'm not doing as much. I keep myself. Okay. I step back from it so I can be a meatball fan again and not have to be like kind of do that. But yeah, Michael Cantor is one of our guys, and then Shawn Holland. They both write for us at Cubs Insider, but they're doing all the Bears coverage and getting stuff going over there. So we still got that on lock, and that's. I tell you what, man. We talk about the Cubs not having any personality. I love the fact that the Bears have brought in some dudes, you know, whether we're talking about Caleb Williams or whomever else. So, like, there are some personalities, and that being on Hard Knocks is going to be huge, bringing that out. The same thing as you talk about Caitlin Clark being in the Olympics and started to ramble and push you. But I love the fact that the Bears are putting themselves out there now as ideally, again, for the first time in a long time, a nationwide product with some players that people outside of Chicago can get excited about, start seeing, and then we can start watching a team that's actually fun to watch again for the first time in I don't know how long. So, man, I hope that's the case.
You and me both, man. We'll bear to freak down, baby. All right, we'll talk soon, Evan. Thanks,
All right, brother. Take care.
All righty. Guy, that's Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com. We're going to switch gears. We're going to take a quick break. When I say quick, I mean like a minute. And on the other side, my man Lester Wiltfong is ready. He is ready, baby, and I'm ready to talk to him. I'm ready to talk. Is Caleb a bust? Because that's what we heard. Then I heard Caleb is ready for a gold jacket. He should go this Thursday and get his gold jacket. Then he's a bust again. Then he's a gold jacket. What is he after 5 non-padded practices? All right, 3 or 4 padded practices. He's a bust. He's a famer and everything in between. We're going to talk to Lester and ask him where he thinks he should be. So don't go anywhere, folks. Quick break. We'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of the Chicago Bears and at Bearski. All right. Training camp is in full effect, baby. I am fired up. And my next guest probably going to get me more fired up. As a good friend of the program, just like Evan was. Another good friend of the program. We've been rocking together for years and love having him on. He's the head man in charge over there, the EIC, over at Windy City Gridiron. You can find him on Twitter at Wiltfong Jr. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Lester Wiltfong. Lester, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I am doing well, man. Thanks. I appreciate your time, and I am fired up to talk to you, baby. Bears football is back. Back.
Bears football never goes away. It's Bears football, 365, 24/7. I mean, that's
true. Bears, put it this way.
Oh, man.
Let me rephrase that. The players are back. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. So before the break, I was, joking a little bit, but I wasn't. I mean, I actually read it a couple. Caleb's a bust. Caleb's a Hall of Famer. Caleb's a bust. Caleb's a Hall of Fame. It's after 4 or 6 unpadded practices, then a couple of practices with pads on. Caleb's a bust. Caleb's a bust. Well, you can't beat this defense. The defense got the best of him. I'm like, yeah, that's okay for that. I want him to fail. I want him to fail gloriously in the preseason because that's how you learn. Talk to me. Is Caleb closer to being a bust, or is he closer to being a gold jacket wearer?
I think he is closer to being a rookie right now. That's what he is right now. He's a rookie. Like you said, he's had 4 or 5 practices in the NFL and the camp setting. Yeah, he had the OTAs, he had the voluntary stuff, but this is it, man. He's out there finally now. They've only had, I think, 1 padded practice in the books. They're out there again today. He's going to have some growing pains. I mean, every rookie quarterback has growing pains. It's very rare for someone to step in camp and just kind of dominate from the start, right? Especially when the norm is for the defense to be ahead of the offense at this point in camp, especially when this is year 3 of the Flu scheme, year 1 of the Waldron scheme, ton of new faces on offense. I mean, they're trying to incorporate Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift, 2 new centers. You know what I mean? There are new faces. It's new plays. Yeah. It's going to take some time. I mean, this offense may look discombobulated here for a few more weeks. Who knows?
Okay, so saying that, let's talk about Thursday. How much they have an extra preseason game? Okay, how much are you willing to play? How much would you play? Put your GM hat on / head coach hat. Well, probably the GM decides, and not the coach. So put your GM hat on. How much did you play Caleb Williams? You have an extra game. You started early. You've been installing stuff since the college football season, Super Bowl ended. You knew you're going to pick him. All right, so you're probably installing stuff with him at that particular point under the radar, of course, but nonetheless. So how long do you play this guy? Do you take advantage of that 4th preseason game? What do you do, GM?
I think it's important that he kind of goes through the motions. We always hear a lot of times how the coaches talk about how the mechanics of prepping for a game is something they want to get these kids used to. And I think it's important that he starts the game. He may not. I mean, like you said, it's a Hall of Fame game. It's an extra one. It's exhibition. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But I think it's important for a rookie quarterback and all these new players kind of go through the motions, get out there, maybe play a series or 2, and then get them out of there. I mean, they're still working through some issues on the O-line. They're still trying to figure some stuff out there. I just think at this point, like you said, take advantage of the extra time. It is some live contact going on there. Get them out there, let them play a little bit, but then get them back out of the game as quick as possible.
2 series, 3 series, quarter.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Okay, I'm a little more meatheadish and get off my lawn. I'm like, give me a quarter and a half. I just think that it's, and people talk about the threat of injury. I'm like, yeah. I said, well, you could get hurt at any time, right? Ask the New York Jets. Okay, ask the New York Jets. You can get hurt at any time. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Bump it, because the more you screw up and fail now, the sooner that success is coming. And we have an extra preseason game. All right. Let's take advantage of that. And I know we're going to play this team a couple weeks in a couple of weeks into the regular week 2. It is. All right. Who cares? I don't care. I just want the timing. I want him him being comfortable. Was a lot of things I want. I want the defense on 10, which they should be, because dude, they're adding the right defensive end, the only guy in the free safety. All right, all the 9 are back. All 9 are back. They're learning nothing new. They're learning nothing else. Maybe a few different things from Coach Washington, but this is still Fluce's defense that they're running, and this defense better roll. So let me say with the offense before I go to the defense. What do you expect from that offense? Do you expect come out throwing like gunslinger, or like, hey, handball, third, and pass a little bit, all right, and just keep it really, really, really basic. Not that they're going to open up and show everything, but you think they might entice us, tease us a little bit with what could be coming?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty basic. I think it's if you think back to the old school when there was 4 preseason games, back in the day, the first preseason game was the starters for a series or 2. That's all it was. So I think that's kind of how they'll play it this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of vanilla. The defense won't blitz. There won't be nothing. No extravagant. Coverages back there. Like you said, they play each other week 2 in the season, so they're not going to show anything they're going to do in that game. I would not be surprised if they kind of come out and just kind of keep it really basic. But they are going to throw a little bit. They have to. I mean, this is the NFL. You still got to get things ready. You're still incorporating a new offense. You want to get the timing down, and you may kind of see things kind of flip up in the second half when it's all reserves. But I think we're going to see a little bit of the Shane Waldron experience here in the first game.
What do you think his plan is for Caleb as the year goes on? Do you think they've thrown a whole bunch of stuff at the wall, see what sticks, and then kind of go over it, or are they installing stuff incrementally? What do you think that their plan is for him for this season?
I mean, he's an intelligent football player. I mean, he's kind of shown that, the few times we've kind of seen him do X's and O stuff, the few times we've heard him talk football, he seems to know what he's doing up there. I don't think they're going to scale too much back for him. Obviously, he's a rookie. They don't want to do too much too soon, but I think they're going to give him as much they feel they can handle. And I think he's the kind of guy that'll say, look, I want more. I'm ready. I think when he's ready, he'll let the coaches know. I don't think he's shy. You know what I mean? I think when he's ready for more stuff in the room, he'll ask for it. And the way this offense is set up, man, it's going to be exciting kind of see a real NFL live offense, because, I mean, the stuff Getsy did, he was kind of handicapped a bit. I mean, some of it was probably Fluce. He maybe didn't trust his players fully. It was just a really bad football team that first year. Last year, they kind of improved a bit, but Shane Waldron, 3 years as a play caller, plenty of time working with Sean McVay, who has, the touch of football Jesus, so to speak. Everyone wants a McVay guy. This guy actually did it. Getsy was twice removed. He didn't really work with McVay. He worked with the guy who worked with McVay. Waldron's a McVay guy.
The guy knows the guy knows the guy.
Yeah, he's his guy. He knows his scheme. He runs it. It's a little bit different. It's not exactly the same. But the fact that we're going to get some plays that are all incohesive, this run play mirrors with this pass play, mirrors with this play action. And then if you shift into a different motion, now it looks the same, but it's run out of a different set. I mean, it's going to be a lot of the McVay principles, and I'm excited.
It's you, me, and Bears Nation. When do you think they may take the training wheels off of Caleb? Because I hope Shane Waldron's watching Sports Zone Chicago and turns around, and literally wins with Caleb. All right, we can win with you because of you later. I love a whole big dose of running the football down your throat. All right, I want a whole bunch of slants. I want a whole bunch of curls. I want a whole bunch of crossers, a whole bunch of 5 and outs. Getting that short game together and basically get it stuck on automatic, because now double moves come into play. Do you think that this is the way he's going to go? And when do you think he's going to take the training wheels off? Week 5, week 7, week 10? Because they got week 8, 9, and 10 are the Commanders, the Cardinals, and the Patriots, and those teams suck. I mean, the Cardinals might be the best of those, but that's like being the tallest midget. So, when do you think they would actually take the training wheels off of Caleb?
I mean, ideally, you would like to kind of see the Bears kind of play things kind of pretty close, the first part of the season, because all their division games are pushed late, right?
Yep.
So if Caleb gets comfortable, the offense gets comfortable, things are really, really clicking. By the time they finally jump into the Lions and the Packers and Vikings games, I think that's what you like to see happen.
I do too, and I think the early part of the season is very forgiving. All right, they won't exploit the team. Screw up against San Fran, you're getting screwed over. You screw up against the Packers or Detroit, they will exploit you big time. And I think the beginning is very forgiving, which is why I'm hoping he runs the ball heavy, gets a little confidence, you got the bye after London and the Jaguars. All right. And then those 3 softer teams, not easy, but softer teams, you hopefully you open it up and you have so much confidence from those previous 6 games that you're like, okay, here we go. Now let's open it up a little bit, because the sooner they can get it and get comfortable, man, you're right. This offense is going to be unfreaking unreal. We're talking back to the Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Marcellus Bennett, Matt Forte, Jay Cutler days, where you're just like, holy cow. So hope that goes well. What about this offensive line, though? Davis, he's hurt again. I don't know if I'm not even going to say it, but he's gimpy. All right, now you're trying those 2 different centers. What the hell's going on with the offensive line?
I think the best thing for this team may be just to go ahead and put Shelton at center, put Ryan Bates at right guard, and make Nate Davis a reserve. I'm rooting for Nate Davis. He had a rough year last year. He lost his mom after a long battle with an illness. That's trying on a player. That's trying on anybody. You know what I mean? So I want him to bounce back, but here he is. He's injured again. He has a strain. He wasn't there for all of the offseason activities. He was there, checked in, but he wasn't on the field. But, this is who he is. This is who he was in Tennessee. The Bears knew this about him coming in. The injuries are something that they couldn't, foretell. But here he is. You hear that Coach Lewis talk about it in his presser. He doesn't seem happy about it, but I think at some point the Bears have to make a call and say, look, we need our starting center to get as many reps as possible. So if Davis is going to be in and out of the lineup, you can't trust him. I think you got to put Bates at right guard, Shelton at center, and roll with it.
But you're paying him $10 million, man. $10 million.
And I'm not saying cut him. He's still when he's out there and healthy, he's a pretty good football player. But if you're not available, if you're not a guy that the Bears can count on, I'm fine making him a reserve. That's a pretty solid reserve if he's your backup. And
that's a pretty expensive reserve too.
He is. And then next year, his contract is where you can cut him, and then I think he's gone for sure after this season.
I think you might be right, especially with these guys. And truth be told, Lester, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. As soon as you can get Tevin Jenkins over to that right side, man.
I lost your audio.
Sorry, I hit the wrong one. As soon as you can get, Braxton Jones is okay on the left side. He's solid. All right, my seating for him is an above average left tackle, which you can win with. All right, you can go get a left guard. You got the guy you saw on the go. Who's the two guys fighting for center. One of them is a guard.
Shelton and Bates.
Bates. So put Bates at the left guard, dude. I want Tevin Jenkins and Darnell Wright on that right side, and everyone and their mama is gonna know on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, the hell we're going. All right, we're going in 23 personnel. Okay, we got a big dude in big tight end in motion, followed by a fullback, followed by that's what I'm talking about. I just hope I would love to get as soon as you get Tevin on that right side, Lord have mercy. Talk to me about this wide receiver core. All right, everyone's talking about who's the first to 1,000, who's this, who's that. Who do you think he vibes with first? And is Rome going to be the kind of like the sleeper, even though he's a first round pick because of the 2 studs at wide receiver room?
It's so weird because there are 3 studs. Literally with the Dunze, obviously he's a rookie. You don't know what he's going to bring, but he was one of the best college football players, in the draft last year. If it wasn't for
receiving,
it wasn't for Neighbors and Harrison, everyone would have talked about Dunze. He would have been the guy, but he happened to be in a class where there were 3 studs. It's probably even a better class than that once it all said and done. But Dunze is really good. Allen's really good. DJ Moore is really good. You would think that because he's coming in with the Dunze, they already have a relationship, that there's something there. But when you get on the field and you look out there at a guy that's a 6-time Pro Bowler, Keenan Allen, how can you not rely on him? He knows how to get open. That's the thing about Keenan Allen. He knows how to work those zones. He's not the quickest guy like when he was younger. He's a pro's pro. He has great routes. And man, I don't know if you saw those 1920 Football Drive episodes where they showed those clips of Keenan working out. I mean, he's got some quick feet, man. I mean, so
really
he knows how to get open. DJ Moore knows how to get open. Dunze knows how to get open. They're going to have so many ways to kind of go after teams. I mean, we talked before. Who is the defense going to roll to? You know, what are they going to do? You know, someone's going to get single coverage. Someone is going to have a guy they can kind of go up and box out, whether it's Cole Kmet, whether it's a Dunze, you know, Swift out of the backfield. You know, there are going to be guys open in this offense because you can't cover everybody.
You can't. You literally just can't. As a defensive coordinator, I'd be pulling my hair out. Think I don't have any, but it'd be some long nights prepping for these guys. Like who? Because it's not like ascending players. It's not like these guys are kind of good. Like you're talking 1,200-yard receivers, and the guy who led at college FBS in receiving last year. All right, and they're like, holy sheesh. So now you know what I mean. So I'm looking forward to that. And I double dog dare him. All right, to roll coverage of somebody. You know you're gonna have to, and as soon as, and that's why I asked you how much you play Caleb, and not that they're gonna double in preseason, but still I need him to get as much real time reps as possible.
Yeah,
right. Because once he sees anyone think about shading to DJ or Keenan, I don't think they're gonna shade to a Dunze yet. Either DJ or Allen. Man, boom. Now I already know where I'm going because, boom, they're doing this safety's shading. That leaves a little bit more of a soft spot here. Boom, here we go. That's going to be awesome. Awesome. Let's go to the defense. Are you worried, concerned about that right defensive end? Everyone keeps talking about, you know, we got it. It's not, doesn't have a big name. It's not, we got a rookie there. You got DeMarcus Walker there. Are you okay with it? You want Yannick Ngakoue back? You want to go get somebody else? What about that right defensive end spot?
You know, I like DeMarcus Walker as a football player. You know, I think he'd be fine if he was there, but I still do think you need to have one more guy. And I think the Bears are playing it smart. I mean, they did the same thing last year. They kind of waited, right? And then it was like a week into camp, they got Ngakoue. You know, this year they're kind of doing the same thing. And, you know, they're saying they're content with who they have, but they all say the door's open. And you look at some other contracts around the league. You know, last year Ngakoue got $10 million, right, for his 1-year deal. You look around the league, and he's worked out, I think, 3 or 4 teams now, and the other teams went other directions. None of those defensive ends got $10 million a year. You know, so the market is now set. If Ngakoue does want to play this year, it's going to be for about $3 or $4 million a year. He ain't getting that $10 million contract because he's been passed over now a few times. The market is there. So I think if Ryan Poles wants to bring him in now, I think that makes sense. And then whether he's your starter or he's your pass rush guy, I think there's a role for him on this team.
Talk to me about Booker. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. Reports are he's still very bendy, even though we saw he bulked up. Which I mean, you're going to as the pros. I don't know if he's ready to handle and set the edge yet, because of his limited reps in college. But for me, he's my Mark Anderson. He's my one-trick pony this year. Just this year only. All right, you can worry about that. Talk to me about what you think he can do this year with under the tutelage of Coach Washington, defensive line coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a couple good coaches. Then his D-line coach, Coach Smith, he had Max Crosby in with the Raiders. And that was the comp you heard quite a bit coming out. You know, he's raw. You know, he's a good athlete, but he's raw. You know, that's kind of what you heard about Max Crosby, who was a 4th-round pick of the Raiders back in the day. So, you know, I'm not saying he's got that kind of upside. I mean, I would love for it to happen. But you watch him play, and you see so many flashes. You know, and the thing is he doesn't just win with speed. I mean, in college anyway. You know, he won with a variety of moves. You know, his issue in college was he couldn't put all the moves together. So he was something that gets stuck on a spin. He would try and do a rip, and he wouldn't have a good counter right away. You know, but we're talking about a redshirt sophomore, you know, who really only started 1 year. So he's very young in the NFL. You know, he's still coming into his body. You know, he's 6'5". He's a good athlete. He added some bulk this offseason. You know, and then with working with Coach Smith and Coach Washington, you know, 2 D-line gurus, I see no reason why he can't provide an impact as a pass rusher year one. And then, you know, eventually down the line, you know, he is your starter opposite Sweat.
I feel that same way. It's important for a kid, every time I said this on my show on Friday, every time you step up a level, okay, Pop Warner to high school to college to pro. All right, when you're fortunate to step up a level and you have great coaching, okay, that stays with you. Okay, you don't have to unlearn bullshit coaching that you get if you're unfortunate and get a Luke Getsy quarterback, as your quarterback, as your offensive play call, and those things. So even if he leaves, I'm not saying he's going to, but even if he leaves, or I get traded, or I go to another team, whatever, those fundamentals that I saw that worked for me, that made me successful as a young player, this level, whatever level I'm at, are going to stay with you. And I think that's going to be really, really important for Booker, because especially if Washington stays for a couple of years. You talked about his ability to move together. Well, guess what? He's got a guy on the other side, Montez Sweat, who does a pretty good job of it. All right. He's got another guy in DeMarcus Walker who can talk to him. And he's got a coach who can help him put those together as well. Those are three pretty good resources. And that's why I'm really excited about him. Even if they platoon him, all right, DeMarcus, you're in for a second. And hey, maybe some third will kick you in. Third down, Booker goes in. If they even do that type of thing, dude, I'd be happy as a pig in slop, because now he's like, all I got to do is just go get the quarterback. Do not pass. Do not stop at the running back. Just do not collect $200. Just go right to the quarterback. And that would be, I would love it, because, dude, he's like Gumby. His bend is like unreal. I love it. And that's why I was concerned, because he put on a little mass. Would that affect his flexibility? And according to multiple reports at camp, it really hasn't.
Yeah, he's looked really good so far in camp. Everything I've heard about him has been he pops when you see him. When the pads went on, he popped. The Bears shared that video where they're showing the D-line going work, and he's got speed. His hands are coming together. So I think the future is really bright for Austin Booker.
Last question before we let you go. And again, guys, we're joined by Lester Wiltfong Jr. He is the editor-in-chief at Windy City Gridiron. All right, make sure he's talking Bears with me here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Gervon Dexter came in svelte, very svelte, ran with the DNs. People are saying he's looking really good in camp. Your thoughts on him and his step forward? All right, and I mean his maturation. All right, now he's trimmed down. He's in better shape. He's going to be with Coach Washington. Again, Coach Washington, to me, that was the second best acquisition this offseason after Shane Waldron. And it's going to have effects across the board. But give me your thoughts on Gervon Dexter Sr.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it. I mean, the coaching really matters in this case. You got a guy coming in who's really raw last year. As the year progressed last year with Dexter, he got better and better. We saw the Bears kind of move him up and down that line. He rushed off the edge quite a bit. So he went all over the place. So he is my key to this entire defense. If he comes through, if he gives Coach Flus that 3 tech he wants, if he's his DeForest Buckner, if he's that guy, this defense is going to go to another level, because, the 3 tech is the engine of the defense. You hear him talk about it. Lovey talked about it. Flus talked about it. Rod Marinelli talked about it. You need a 3 tech in this day and age, because you need that quick pressure, right? It's nice coming off the edge, but you get in a quarterback's face right now, you make a decision right now, you're forcing the ball out early. That leads to more interceptions. So if Dexter can be that guy, and again, we talk about training camp, it's early, who knows, and plus he's going against the Bears O-line, which is probably an advantage to Dex here, but yeah, he looks good so far in camp, and it's exciting, because if he's the guy, man, this defense, another level.
What your thoughts about their nose guard?
Billings.
They're playing him at 3 tech a little bit in camp. Your thoughts on that? Because he's been collapsed in the pocket from the inside. Your thoughts on that? Or you just want to leave him at the 1 tech?
I'm not sure if it's they're doing it to kind of do it, or maybe they're just doing it to where if an offense shifts on you, and now you can just leave them in a spot. Okay, we don't got to shift to D tackles. We don't got to flip them. 3 tech. Stay there and do the 3 tech's job while you're there, because the offense shifted into it. And he doesn't have the speed, right, like Dexter does.
No, definitely not.
This is one of the strongest guys, in the NFL. So if you can take that guard and put him into the quarterback's lap, again, it's all about pressure, quick pressure up front. Dexter wins with speed, Billings wins with power. I don't care who wins with what. Get in the quarterback's face.
That's it, baby. That is it. Lester, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. As always, my man. Do me a favor, though, let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, all my writing stuff's at windycitygridiron.com. All my podcast and video stuff is at Second City Gridiron. I'll be at camp tomorrow morning, and then so we'll have a show on the channel afterwards recapping that at some point.
Cool. We're gonna apply for credentials for a couple days of camp. So hopefully we get that next week after the Hall of Fame game. So I definitely want to be in the building. In the building. So you're gonna be there tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
I got three tickets this year, so I got my 3 dates coming up. We got our guy Jeff Burkus who will be at the Hall of Fame game and at the enshrinement ceremony. So we'll have some content about that there from him as well. So, we're rolling, man. It's season. Season's here.
It has started. No more football less weekends until February. And I love it. Hey, buddy, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Anytime, man. We'll take it easy.
All righty. Guys, that's Lester Wiltfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron talking Bears football with me. I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up. It's got me fired up, man. This season, I'm really looking forward to Gervon Dexter Sr. taking that next step and becoming a problem for people. All right. Yeah, if they can collapse the pocket, this defense. I just said it, DC, that we're on the same page. It's gonna be a Mickey Ficky problem. It's gonna be a Mickey Ficky problem for these people. All right, Shorty, you think? Yeah, I think with Sweat, Dexter, Booker will shine. And Billings is another one. That's not we talked. Man, Billings is a powerful man, and his ability to win with power and strength, like Lester said, doesn't matter if I beat you with strength, if I beat you with speed, I still beat you. And Billings is one of those guys that's very difficult to move. So if Gervon Dexter becomes a problem, now you're gonna have to double team him. Oh, but wait, you got to double team. Do you want to leave Montez Sweat alone? Because if you double team Sweat, there's 2 offensive linemen. If you have to double team another offensive lineman, that's 4. You only have 5 offensive linemen. You still got 2 other guys. You're going to be getting a lot of guys in single coverage. So for the time being, that right defensive end is going to have one-on-one coverage. It's going to be matched up man-to-man. Because you're going to have to deal with Billings, Dexter, and Sweat. So you're going to have 4, maybe 5, if you keep a tight end in, 4 or 5 guys for those 3. It's gonna get crazy up in this mug. But I am so excited about that. I said last year Gervon Dexter was going to be one that sets the line off. Can't wait to be right. Yeah, and you know what? We had a lot of that. We saw a lot of that toward the last 4-6 games of the year. All right, and I don't know if you remember, but when I interviewed him, I said, "Hey, confidence," and he's just, I saw it. We all saw it. He was making strides. Now with a full off season, now with a much cleaner diet, and looking svelte, like he might just be that dude who's so quick and powerful. All right, it's okay to be quick, but if you're quick and you're not powerful and they're able to push you over or get you out of the way because you're light and you're quick, that's a problem. But if you're quick and can get through and you have enough strength to get through and still battle, okay, and not be pushed by the quarterback so easily, that's a problem. Because sometimes speed and quickness are one thing. Strength and power are another. So if you got speed and quickness, combine that with power, wow. Yes, DC, exactly. Dexter is not thinking anymore. Now he's just playing. And that is what we need. And we knew it was going to take time. We knew it. We all know he came from Florida. We all know he has a two-gap scheme. We all know it wasn't to penetrate. It was to read and react, see where the ball's going, go chase the ball. We knew that. And to change that, we saw that toward the end of the season. As the end of the season drew closer, we saw him starting to transform. We saw him start to get more comfortable. We saw him starting to pick up that defense and make more plays. And if not make plays, be a problem. Flush the quarterback out. Tackles for losses if it's a handoff. Okay, these things, chasing the quarterback, like I said, flushing them out, these things we saw on a consistent basis. So now that he has a year in and all the changes he's made to his body, not having to learn anything anymore, being paired with Coach Eric Washington, I'm telling you, guys, that's why I left this up on the screen. If you're listening to audio, I have hashtag coaching matters. That's why coaching matters, because he's going to, I feel like many Bears fans feel that Coach Washington is going to take this kid, everyone on this line, but this young man in particular, to a whole new level, to the point where he's going to be, teams may have to game plan around him too, in addition to Sweat. King Booker Worley said Dex will have a better year than Carter. Heard it here first. Okay. I'm hoping. I'm anticipating. I see it. Now he just got to do it. He just got to do it, because that is going to be. We didn't even get to talk to the secondary. Didn't even get to talk to secondary. All right. He's up in, I don't know if he's in the sky right now or if he's landed in Paris to watch his wife, who kicked ass yesterday, by the way. But that back seven, a lot of shit. They're cocky, they're arrogant, but I think they're focused. You know, Jalen Johnson, when asked, he said, there's stuff I still need to do. See, the thing you worry about players when they get a big contract is their propensity to fall off. We talked about Cody Bellinger, right? At least publicly, Jalen Johnson's like, I got something I got to prove. He wanted to be all-pro last year. He was second-team all-pro. He's like, no, I want to be first-team. Well, that's the kind of mindset that you got to have. Mindset is so important. You know, Jerry Rice had one of the best mindsets that I can remember. I remember reading an article about him. And he said every year he came and he felt and he competed. He was competing for a roster spot. Jerry Rice, after Pro Bowl victories, after Pro Bowl selections, after Super Bowl victories, after Super Bowl MVP awards, he still came in fighting with the mentality, I have to fight for a job. And that's the thing I love about it. And that's, you know what? And that's the mentality that I took in my career as well. Be humble. Be humble. Because if you're fighting for a job, you'll do anything. And what that does, that sets the tone. That sets the tone for everybody in your position and on your side of the ball. If they're saying this dude's going hard like that, this all-pro, this MVP, this Super Bowl MVP, this leading wide receiver is fighting for a job and he's going all out, he's going balls to the wall, I think I need to go balls to the wall. That's the type of you need to have in anything competitive. So give me guys who want to work. Give me guys who aren't satisfied. I don't ever want guys to be satisfied. They had a good year last year, but boom, here's what I want to do. I had a good year last year, but boom, I had a good year. I could have done this better, so I'm going to work on this. I'm going to improve in that. That's self-scouting. That, to me, that's important. That mentality is important. All right. One of the reasons I love Joakim Noah back in the day with the Bulls, there was every year, every offseason, he worked on something else and got better. Whether it was the weight room, whether it was free throws, whether it was jumping, whether it was his conditioning, whatever. Every year he did something. And that's why Chicago loved him, because he never took a summer off. He always was always working on his game. Always. If these young players can do that, bar owners are going to be really happy, because them bars are going to be filled to the brim with Bear fans on Sundays. Because my buddy owns a bar, Output. He's talked about it many years. When the Bears are bad, business is bad. People don't. And I remember I'd go there, I'd get there early, and there's nobody there. But when they're good, there are people lining up at the door at 10:30. They open at 11. So that we're waiting for the adjustment, the course correct, so to speak, of Coach Eberflus and his Bears team, because it's going to be fun. The Hall of Fame game Thursday. Yeah. Shorty said Eberflus looks like he stepped in from a different dimension this year. Yeah, he does. I think this is the first time he is finally at ease. Okay. Finally. You know, because you see him and you have his first year was a shit show. Oh, my goodness. You know, it was, you had no offensive line. Your defensive coordinator gets asked to leave, or you had to fire him. The running backs coach had to leave. Now you're calling a defense when you just wanted to be the CEO. There's a lot. You have to kind of get adjusted to that. Yeah, and King Booker, well, he looks more in control. He commands more respect. Yes. I think that's important. I think that's important with a young team that's ready to go to new levels. We got a young team. I mean, from Caleb to Roshan Johnson to Darnell Wright to even Tevin, I guess, but Braxton Jones. All right. Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, Tyreek Stevenson. These are all young players. You know, all young players. We got a young team. So it's going to be good to watch them grow, all right, have some success, and it's good for Eberflus to be on them. All right. So like I talked to Lester, when you got good coaching coming at the next level, whatever level you achieve, that stays with you. That stays with you. So we're going to find out. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. Listen, 2 hours is coming and going. I want to thank my guests, Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com, for coming on talking Cubs baseball with me. And I want to thank my man, Lester Wiltfong Jr., for coming on talking Bears football with your guy. So I'm out of here. I got to go pick up the warden from CrossFit. Guys, have a phenomenal day. This will replay on Monday night tonight at 6 p.m. All right. I'm glad to be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Whew, it'll be good talking to you guys on a regular basis. All right. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, all right, executive producer Elliot Baez, our social media guy, Clarence Council III, and my co-host in absentia, Maya. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Guys, have a phenomenal day. Even if it's overcast, now the sun's coming out, but still a lot of clouds. Even if it's overcast, hey, you're on the wake up list this morning, so you should qualify it as an awesome day. Remember, everything is about perspective. All right, have an attitude of gratitude, and life goes a lot better. All right, well, for everybody here, guys, I am your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Have a phenomenal day, because you know what, baby, I am out.